Mark Martin just said what everyone's been afraid to admit. The Hall of Famer called out NASCAR's dirty secret, and when critics came after Larson and Bell, 6 words shut them down instantly. On his Mark Martin Archive podcast, the Hall of Famer dropped 2 major truth bombs. First, he shut down the growing controversy around NASCAR drivers competing at the Chili Bowl Nationals. Then he exposed a much bigger problem, one that's quietly destroying careers and fundamentally changing the sport forever. Let's start with the Chili Bowl drama. Every January, the Chili Bowl Nationals in Tulsa, Oklahoma, brings together the best dirt track racers competing for the Golden Driller Trophy. In 2026, nearly 400 drivers entered, setting a new record. But more NASCAR stars showing up has created tension. Grassroots fans question whether high-profile drivers with massive budgets are overshadowing local racers who depend on events like this to make a name for themselves. Not according to Mark Martin. When asked about this controversy, Martin didn't dance around it. He got straight to the point. I think they're short-sighted. 6 words. That's all it took to dismantle the entire argument. But Martin didn't stop there. Drivers like Larson and Bell didn't just show up as NASCAR stars, they started from scratch in midget racing. Bell won 3 consecutive Chili Bowl championships from 2017 to 2019. Larson captured Golden Drillers in 2020, 2021, and 2025. Bell grew up racing midgets in Oklahoma. Larson earned the nickname Young Money for his USAC midget dominance as a teenager. He even started Kyle Larson Racing just to keep competing in dirt events. Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, made their name for themselves racing in midgets. Martin said, they bring an enormous amount of recognition and legitimacy to that race. These drivers aren't invaders. They're coming home. The 2026 Chili Bowl proved Martin's point. Larson started on pole and looked dominant until flipping on lap 15 while running second. Bell finished 8th. Out of all the NASCAR drivers who competed, Bell had the best finish. Nobody from the Cup Series cracked the top 5. The winner? 21-year-old Emerson Axsom, a dirt racing specialist. That should tell you everything about how difficult the Chili Bowl actually is, which brings us to Martin's other major point. Winning the Chili Bowl? Harder than winning the Daytona 500. His reasoning is simple math. The Daytona 500 has 40 cars. The Chili Bowl has 400 entries competing through multiple nights just to qualify for the championship race. Most of the guys who go from NASCAR don't make the A-Main, Martin explained. There's 400 cars. To be able to make A-Main is just unbelievable. Bell and Tony Stewart agree. The Chili Bowl brings together top drivers from different disciplines who never race against each other otherwise. But here's where Martin's podcast took a darker turn. After defending NASCAR drivers at the Chili Bowl, he shifted to a problem that's much harder to fix. The sponsorship crisis that's quietly killing careers and fundamentally reshaping NASCAR. Martin described what racing was like when he started in the 1970s. Back then, winning opened doors. Talent got you product support. Performance on the track translated directly to opportunities. After Martin won his first ASA championship in 1978, he got a free chassis from the manufacturer. Firestone gave him tires, wheels, shocks, springs. Everything came free except engines, and race purses covered those costs because overhead was minimal. Everything that went on the car was free except for the engines, and you could do it off the purse then because of that, because you had no overhead hardly at all, Martin said on his podcast. That world doesn't exist anymore. Not even close. Today's NASCAR is brutally expensive. Cars cost hundreds of thousands to build and maintain. Teams don't care how talented you are if you can't bring money to help fund operations. Sponsorship trumps everything. Raw speed means nothing without financial backing. And that's creating a situation where championship-caliber drivers are getting left behind, while less talented competitors with deeper pockets take their spots. Exhibit A. Corey Heim. The 23-year-old from Marietta, Georgia dominated the Truck Series in 2025 with a record-breaking 12 wins, shattering Greg Biffle's 1999 record of 9. He led 1,627 laps, more than any driver in series history for a single season. He averaged a 1.4 finish through the playoffs, an almost unbelievable level of consistency. Then he won the championship at Phoenix with spectacular racing. And what did he get for all that success? No full-time ride for 2026. Riley Herbst, who finished 35th out of 36 Cup drivers with a best finish of 14th all season, got the 2311 racing seat instead. The reason? Monster Energy sponsorship through his family's Terrible's gas station chain brings millions in funding. I don't know deep history of Corey Heim, but obviously he doesn't have a lot of money attached to him, Martin admitted on the podcast. There it is, the uncomfortable truth. In modern NASCAR, money beats talent every single time. Martin explained that teams in Junior Series now prioritize drivers with strong financial backing over pure ability. Product sponsorships that used to be free now cost serious money. Parts that were handed out to winners in the 70s and 80s now require payment up front. Without family wealth or corporate backing, even the most talented racers are fighting an uphill battle that's almost impossible to win. Driver Garrett Smithley talked about this reality back in 2022. He said he spent his free time doing sponsorship searches, trying to find funding just to keep racing. The constant stress of scrambling for money took away from actually focusing on driving and improving his craft. I wish it was a little bit less stressful sometimes, Smithley said. That's the reality now. Drivers can't just drive. They have to be salespeople, marketers, and fundraisers. And if they can't bring money, they don't get opportunities, no matter how fast they are. Martin sees the writing on the wall. There's so much competition on the product side, and it's just a lot tougher. If you don't have money tied to you somehow, either through family or friends or whatever, you're just fighting an uphill battle. It's very, very tough. Heim's situation proves how broken the system has become. He's rumored to be blacklisted by Joe Gibbs Racing because of old feuds with Ty Gibbs from their ARCA days, cutting off a major Toyota pathway. Toyota and 2311 don't have a full-time Cup spot for him, despite his obvious talent. So, despite winning a championship with one of the most dominant seasons in Truck Series history, he's stuck running a part-time schedule across multiple series in 2026, hoping something opens up. Meanwhile, drivers with lesser resumes but better funding get the full-time rides he deserves. That's what Martin is warning about. NASCAR is heading in a direction where the best talent might not make it to the top levels anymore. Not because they can't drive at an elite level, but because they can't pay the entry fee. And unlike the Chili Bowl controversy, where Martin could shut down critics with 6 words, this problem doesn't have an easy answer. The sport has become too expensive for pure talent alone. Teams need sponsorship to survive. Sponsors want return on investment. And young drivers without financial backing get caught in the middle, watching less talented competitors get opportunities they'll never see. Martin lived through the transition. He saw racing evolve from merit-based to pay-to-play, where connections and money matter more than lap times. That's why his words carry so much weight. He competed at the highest level for 31 years, finished second in the championship 5 times, and won 40 Cup races. He knows what it takes to succeed, and he's telling us the system is broken. The Chili Bowl controversy? Settled. Martin shut it down. Larson and Bell earned their place. But the sponsorship crisis, that's just getting started. Unless something changes, talented drivers like Corey Heim will keep getting left behind, while less capable drivers with bigger checkbooks take their spots. That's the ugly reality Mark Martin just exposed, and it's a problem NASCAR can't ignore much longer.